I spoke to Dean Spacavento from Reposit at the recent Smart Energy event, and Dean is a very smart guy. He knows about virtual power plants and how we connect to the grid, etc. But as with smart guys, sometimes you got to translate, you really got to simplify it. Okay, Dean, you've been in the industry, 10 years now?
10 years.
You know a bit about virtual power plants, how it all going to be the future. I have no idea what happens in the future. I just think there's a solar system on a roof, but then they got to go in the grid, and after that, I forget about it.
We knew it was going to happen 8 years ago, that lots and lots of solar would come into the system. We could see the price curves, and as a result, we knew there was going to be a problem with uncontrolled solar. And we tried to basically say to people, well, controlling your solar is important.
So what Dean is really saying is that we make a lot of electricity with solar during the middle of the day because our manufacturing has slowed down. We don't need that much energy in the middle of the day, so that solar has somewhere to go. And maybe that means really in the future we need more batteries to absorb that solar that we generate a lot of times in the middle of the day.
You know, uncontrolled solar requires larger amounts of network to be able to absorb, and that's going to cost money. That's what's happening. There will be a price signal imposed on solar that will cause solar to have controllers put on them, because either it'll be a negative wholesale price, which will mean that you'll have to pay to generate, or there'll be a price associated with delivering energy to the grid, because the grid has to be built up a bit to be able to take that energy. Now, it won't be like building the grid again.
So what Dean is saying here is that maybe the inverters have to be stopped to export that solar into the grid, or somebody has to pay for the new capacity of the grid to absorb all that electricity with additional storage, be it battery or whatever, but somebody will have to pay for it.
The problem is that people who can afford solar are typically those people with a bit of money in their pocket, people with detached houses, people who are, at the middle to upper end of the wealth spectrum, and poor people are getting shafted because they can't afford solar, but they do have to pay for the electricity costs of the network being built out. Electricity at the moment in this country is a regressive tax, right? It's bad for poor people, and that's not sustainable and it's not fair.
It occurs to me that the best way you hurt rich people is by turning them into poor people.
Somebody has to pay for the new capacity of the grid to absorb all that electricity with additional storage, be it battery or whatever, but somebody will have to pay for it.
Yeah, right. Who's going to pay for that?
Oh my God, if solar had a free ride. The incentives are completely in the wrong places, and we're seeing the effect of incentives incentivizing things that are not sustainable now. We're seeing it with minimum demand issues in South Australia. We're about to see it with minimum demand issues in Victoria. We're seeing the regulators get stroppy with that. We're seeing let's turn solar off in South Australia, which is a knee-jerk, sledgehammer, no subtlety solution, right? The correct answer is negative wholesale prices and an NS gas contract with Torrens and Pelican to keep synchronous services in the grid. That is the correct answer, and not what the South Australian government did. Utterly incorrect.
Were you confused too? I mean, what Dean is really saying is that the South Australian government came up with this harebrained idea to charge solar owners in the middle of the day for the solar that they want to export, or that they want to basically stop them exporting altogether. But what he really believes also is that there should be a price mechanism that reflects those realities for the large energy generators. So for example, the simple point is for large energy generator, you do not generate a lot of electricity in the middle of the day on a sunny day when the solar on the roofs already generates that electricity. So it's actually the large generators that have to build in that flexibility.
Right, but that kind of heavy-handed response is what's coming for everybody unless we get our shit together and we start to control this input.
Now, if you're saying that there's enough solar in the system that the grid on some days cannot handle, but ironically we're still giving a federal rebate to put more solar in the system.
Okay, that is true, right? And the federal rebate, as everyone knows, pays for the panels and the racking now. The incentives are all over the place because, as you say, right, solar is middle class welfare. The middle class are the majority of the voters in this country. The federal government is not going to do anything that will raise their ire. I've got a stat that said that there's a retailer, big retailer, they dropped the solar feed-in tariff and they lost 28,000 customers in a week.
Right.
I mean, that's insane, but it shows you what the sensitivity is for these retail businesses around solar feed-in tariff. Everyone knows people buy electricity on two things. What's the discount rate on the consumption and what's the feed-in tariff rate? That's it.
I want a discount.
Now, we're also going to get electric cars seemingly slowly but steadily coming.
Yeah.
what's that going to do to the grid?
It'll make the nighttime surge worse. Unless there's mass charging places delivered by all employers across the country, a large part of the fleet is not going to be plugged into the system absorbing the solar in the middle of the day. They're going to go home at night and they're going to top up.
So then where's that power coming from?
That power's going to have to come from other people's storage or from dispatchable generation of one sort or another, Snowy 2.0, reposit batteries, who knows.
Coal?
I think coal is dead.
I don't personally fully agree with that. So Dean really says here that we don't have the infrastructure in place at this point in time to charge all these new electric vehicles during the day. Ideally, they would all be charged through solar or some kind of renewable infrastructure, because if they do not, then everybody comes home at night, plugs their vehicle in, charges it, means we need a lot of electricity, and the chances are that this might even be coal-fired electricity. He doesn't believe so, but as it looks, we don't really have the infrastructure right now, maybe in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but not right now. So all these electric vehicles, if they just get charged with power that is generated through coal fire, then we're actually not going ahead. So it's really a matter of the whole grid having to be redesigned, and massive investments have to go in there, and the government really has to have a vision for that.
If we don't watch out with the electric car charging, if we just let that go pop and pop, then suddenly the grid will go down and we have blackouts because we've got too many electric cars on the grid.
Yeah, look, absolutely, the electric cars need to be under control. The problem will be that they will all turn up at the same time, and then you'll just need to stagger the charging, and how customers deal with that, I'm not sure. Like, people will want their car to be full or 85% or whatever. I don't know how to deal with that problem. Other people like ChargeFox can work that out, right? I just want to control the cars.
So ideally, if we want to charge the vehicles during the day, then employers have to have massive solar systems on their buildings, or they would have to source the electricity from big solar farms, maybe outside the cities, to then have that electricity available to charge the vehicles during the day, and that might be a service that they supply to their employees.
Want more energy answered? Visit yourenergyanswers.com for quality energy products, tools and calculators, and find your quality local installers. Please support the channel by liking the video, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, and check out all our other videos. You're still here? I'll see you next time. Bye.